I never thought a few small habits could completely change the direction of my life. I used to laugh when people said things like, success is a routine, not luck. I thought they were just trying to sound wise. But looking back, I realized I was living on autopilot, wasting days, ignoring opportunities, and blaming fate for everything that went wrong. Until one day, everything fell apart. My career, my relationships, even my health, it all hit rock bottom at once. I was sitting alone in a dimly lit room, staring at my phone, wondering how my life had come to this. And that night, something inside me snapped. I made a promise to myself that no matter how broken I was, I'd rebuild from the ground up. But I didn't know where to start. What do successful people do differently? What makes their lives look so effortless when I was drowning in stress? That question became my obsession. And what I discovered over the next year didn't just help me succeed, it made me unrecognizable, mentally and emotionally. These are the 5 habits that turned my failures into fuel for success. The first habit that changed everything was brutally simple: waking up early. I know everyone says that, but for me, it wasn't about the clock. It was about control. For years, I used to wake up to chaos, unread messages, notifications, problems waiting to be solved. My mornings were stolen before I even opened my eyes. But one day, I forced myself to wake up at 5 a.m. The world was silent. No noise, no pressure, just me and the sound of my own thoughts. I brewed a cup of coffee, opened my notebook, and wrote one line: "You're the author of your story." That became my morning ritual. I started writing my thoughts every day: what I feared, what I wanted, and what I was grateful for. The calmness of those early hours became my secret weapon. I noticed my focus sharpened, my stress dropped, and suddenly I had time to think, to plan, to breathe. Mornings gave me ownership of my life again. The second habit I learned was uncomfortable at first, facing pain instead of avoiding it. You see, I used to run from anything that made me feel small: rejection, failure, criticism. I thought pain meant weakness. But the truth is, avoiding pain made me weaker. I remember once, I applied for a position I'd dreamed about for years. I worked for weeks, prepared everything, and when I finally got the email, it said, "We regret to inform you." I deleted it immediately, pretending it didn't matter. But that night, I broke down. I realized I wasn't just afraid of rejection, I was afraid of growth. Successful people aren't fearless. They just learn to walk through fear with their eyes open. So I decided to do the same. I started saying yes to the uncomfortable. Public speaking terrified me, so I volunteered to present at work. Networking made me anxious, so I forced myself to attend events. And every single time I pushed through that resistance, life rewarded me with confidence. Pain became a teacher, not an enemy. The truth is, the walls that keep you safe are the same walls that keep you small. The third habit was what I call mental fasting, feeding my mind only what helps it grow. I used to scroll endlessly through social media, watching people flaunt their success, while I felt like a failure. My brain was addicted to distraction. So I went on a mental diet. I unfollowed negativity, stopped watching useless videos, and replaced them with books, podcasts, and meaningful conversations. Every morning, I'd listen to something that challenged my thinking: a lecture, a story, or an interview. It wasn't about motivation. It was about rewiring my mindset. I learned from people like Richard Feynman, Elon Musk, and Steve Jobs, not their success, but their process. I began to notice how they all had one thing in common: deep curiosity. They questioned everything. So I made curiosity my daily habit. Instead of complaining, I started asking, why? And how can I fix this? That shift in mindset opened doors I didn't even know existed. I realized the difference between average and exceptional isn't intelligence, it's what you feed your mind. The fourth habit that transformed me was learning to say no. This one hit hard because I used to be a people pleaser. I'd say yes to everyone: extra work, favors, meaningless meetups just to feel accepted. But deep down, I was drowning in resentment. My time wasn't mine. One night, after yet another exhausting day of doing everything for everyone, I sat on my bed and whispered to myself, "You're not tired. You're drained from living everyone else's life." That line hit me like a punch. I decided from that day I'd only say yes to things that moved me closer to my goals. The first week was hard. People got upset. Some even called me selfish. But as I kept practicing, something amazing happened. My energy returned. My goals started moving forward. My mind cleared. I learned that saying no isn't rejection, it's respect for your own boundaries. Successful people guard their time like treasure, because it is. The fifth and final habit that truly changed my destiny was reflection. Every Sunday night, I'd sit down with a notebook and write one question. What did I learn this week? Sometimes the answer was simple: be patient. Other times, it was painful. You talk more than you listen. But over time, I started noticing patterns in my behavior. I could see my progress, my weaknesses, my triggers. That awareness became my superpower. When you study yourself, you stop being a victim of life and start becoming its student. Reflection made me realize that success isn't about speed, it's about alignment. It's not about how far you run, but whether you're running in the right direction. So, that's the situation I was in. 5 small habits that slowly rewired my entire life. But I want to ask you something before I go on. If you were in my place, broke, rejected, and directionless, would you have believed that something as simple as waking up early, facing discomfort, feeding your mind, setting boundaries, and reflecting could really change everything? I didn't. Not at first, but it did. So, before I tell you what happened next, pause this video for a moment and comment below what's one habit you think can change your life if you commit to it today. All right, let me tell you how it all came together. It took me about a year to rebuild myself. At first, progress was invisible. No one noticed. I still looked the same clothes, same job, same problems. But inside, I was different. My mornings had meaning. My nights had purpose. Slowly, people began to notice. My boss once said, "You've changed, man. You seem grounded." That one sentence told me I was on the right track. I started getting better projects, my confidence grew, and my anxiety faded. I stopped comparing my journey to others and started competing with the man I was yesterday. And something strange happened. The more disciplined I became, the freer I felt. Success stopped feeling like a chase and started feeling like a rhythm. I learned that consistency beats talent every single time. There was one particular day I'll never forget. I was standing on a stage, giving a talk about personal growth, the same guy who once avoided public speaking like the plague. The lights were bright, my palms were sweaty, but my heart was calm. I looked at the audience and said, "The life you dream of isn't waiting for luck, it's waiting for habits." The applause that followed wasn't just for the talk. Every fear I faced, every moment I said no to distractions, and every night I reflected on my mistakes. That moment made every struggle worth it. Now, don't get me wrong, I still fail. I still doubt myself sometimes. But now I know that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than most people even try. What separates them isn't luck or privilege, it's habits. Habits are like bricks. Lay them right every day, and one day, you'll realize you've built something unshakable. Today, when I look back at my old self, the one who blamed life for everything, I don't feel shame anymore. I feel gratitude, because if I hadn't fallen, I'd never have learned how to rise. And if you're watching this, maybe you're in your own fall right now. Maybe you feel stuck, unseen, or unworthy. But trust me, it's not over. You can rebuild, one habit at a time. And remember, this success isn't something you achieve. It's something you become. You don't chase greatness, you grow into it. Slowly, quietly, through choices no one sees. So start today. Wake up early and meet yourself before the world meets you. Face your fears and let them shape you. Feed your mind with truth. Protect your energy and never stop reflecting. One day, people will look at you and call you lucky. You'll know it wasn't luck, it was discipline disguised as destiny. If this story inspired you, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below and tell me which of these 5 habits you're going to start with. Don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing stories like this. Until next time, remember, you are one decision away from a completely different life. I'll see you in the next story.